First graders, today we're going to be reading the second part of Timothy Goes to School. But before we start reading, I want you to think about what has happened so far between Timothy and Claude. Now remember, you can use the faces you draw in your journal yesterday, the first three, to remember how Timothy is feeling in each part. So I want you to retell what's happened in the first half of the story. Remember to use your characters' names. We're going to use Timothy, Claude, Timothy's mother, the teacher. Right? So go ahead and pause the video for just a minute, retell the story to your learning coach, and then restart it when you're ready. The next day, Timothy went to school in his favorite shirt. "Look," said Timothy, "you are wearing the same shirt I am." "No," said Claude, "you are wearing the same shirt that I am." During lunch, Timothy wished and wished that Claude would have to eat alone. But he didn't. So how is Timothy trying to solve his problem? Let me describe what's going on so far. Well, first, he tried wearing different clothes to school. Then he wished bad things would happen to Claude. Is it working? Are Timothy's actions helping him get along better with Claude? How would you describe Timothy right now? Talk with your learning coach about that. And I want you to pick one word that describes Timothy right now. And that one word you pick, I want you to write it into your writing journal or your reading journal. After school, Timothy's mother could not find Timothy. "Where are you?" she called. "I'm never going back to school," said Timothy. "Why not?" said Timothy's mother. "Because Claude is the smartest and the best at everything, and he has all the friends," said Timothy. "You'll feel better in your new football shirt," said Timothy's mother. So study how the character acts in the story, and that helps the reader know that character better. Sometimes the author shows us in illustrations how the character is feeling. That's what Rosemary Wells did here on this page. Look at Timothy's face. Look how his eyes change. What is Rosemary Wells telling us about Timothy right now? So look at the four pictures and notice how his eyes and his face change. So in your reading journal, I want you to complete this sentence. I know that Timothy is feeling blank because, and then tell me how you know he's feeling that way. For example, at the beginning of the story, I know that Timothy is feeling happy because he is excited to go to school and he's wearing his new sunsuit. Okay, so I want you to determine how is Timothy feeling right now and how do you know that? Timothy did not feel better in his new football shirt. That morning, Claude played the saxophone. "I can't stand it anymore," said a voice next to Timothy. Who said that? Who is the voice next to Timothy, I wonder? Study the illustration on page 24 and make a prediction. I'm glad we have that illustration to help us. Let's keep reading to see if our prediction is correct. It was Violet. You can't stand what? Timothy asked Violet. Grace, said Violet. She sings, she dances, she counts up to 1,000, and she sits next to me. So it was Violet, a new character we just met. Tell your learning coach about that and pick one word that describes Violet and write it in your reading journal where you wrote the word that describes Timothy. You may have used a lot of the same words to describe Violet that you used to describe Timothy. So Timothy and Violet have some things in common. That means they're the same. They are both feeling angry. And they are both feeling jealous of someone else. And they're both maybe a little frustrated with somebody else. During playtime, Timothy and Violet sat together. Violet said, I can't believe you've been here all along. Will you come home and have cookies with me after school? Timothy asked. On the way home, Timothy and Violet laughed so much about Claude and Grace that they both got the hiccups. That is the end of Timothy Goes to School. But I'm so glad that Timothy ended up the story feeling happy. So I want you to go in and fill in that last box on your chart. How does Timothy feel at the end of the story? Now, we knew there was a problem at school for Timothy, and his name was Claude. Claude seemed to do everything right. He seemed to like the cool kid. But when Timothy tried to act like Claude by wearing different clothes and trying his best to be liked, Claude still didn't pay attention to him. Timothy wasn't happy at school anymore. He even wished bad things would happen to Claude. Timothy's actions didn't make him feel any better. So what really was the problem for Timothy? Did it get solved? Go back through and describe how Timothy felt throughout the book and see if you can figure it out. So Timothy goes to school and he's really excited and happy. Claude makes fun of his clothes and his feelings get hurt. Claude seems to have all the friends and does everything right. And then Timothy makes a new friend of his own. So why was Timothy feeling so bad in the middle of the story? And what made Timothy feel better at the end? Some things to think about with your learning coach. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed Timothy Goes to School.